the dragon. You're in covenant with the dragon. And so, if you look earlier in this video, I was describing in a dream where I actually saw a Chinese dragon, and he was the size of an airplane, the circumference of an airplane. And so sometimes, when you do your little festivals, right? Satan and his demons live below the earth, right? They live in hell. They are below the earth. And hell is always down. People who die and go to heaven, they are always going down. Okay? So heaven is up, hell is down. Heaven is paradise, hell is torment for all eternity. So what the Lord showed me about your sinkholes is when you worship the red dragon, he comes up from the bottom of the earth as a spirit. And so when Satan, who is a dark demonic entity, right? And when I've seen Satan, sometimes they do appear as shadows, but their energies, and that goes into, but their energy, right? You should know about energy, chi energy, all that. You guys are about all that. Well, Satan, the dragon, has a really bad chi energy. Let me just say that. He's very dark. He's dysfunctional. He likes to bring destruction. But when you worship him with your little parades and your little dragon dances, what are you doing? You're worshiping him, right? You're worshiping him. You're saying, you're my God. So then he comes up forth from Hades, from hell, from the underground, right? Underground. And he comes up as a spirit, but it affects the whole land. So as you worship him, you're calling him forth. Just like when Christians worship, we're calling our God forth. We're saying, Jesus, come and meet with us. Jesus, come and be with us, because we're worshiping him. And so his spirit comes and dwells with us. And his spirit comes and moves among us. And his spirit. But because the devil likes to mock God, and he likes to mimic God, so when you worship him, in your little dragon dances that you do in the street, and the little red dragon lanterns, and red dragon this and dragon that, and I know you even have demons that you think are good and demons that you think are bad. I mean, I haven't gone real deep into Chinese culture yet, but I'm getting there. But I know you guys believe in all that. I've seen that. So when you have these parades and you're worshiping him and things like that, his spirit comes up forth from the underground, from under the earth, right? So here's the earth, here's the mantle of the earth, here's hell, Satan, the demons, lost souls. Here is the earth, here is the sky, heaven, here is God. So when you worship him on earth, right, the mantle, you're worshiping him. Red dragon, come forth. You're bowing to him in your dances, bowing. What do you think he's going to do? He loves to be worshipped because he thinks, he's a fallen king and he wants worship. He tried to get Jesus to worship him. He tries to get people to worship him. Okay, so here you guys are worshiping the red dragon. So he comes forth from his lair, the underground hell, comes through the land and out. And you guys might laugh at me. Oh, that's not the reason for our sinkholes. Well, let me tell you, God gave me that revelation for you guys. Because I asked God, I said, why does China have so many sinkholes, Lord? And he revealed it to me. He said, Val, they worship the red dragon. And so the red dragon comes up, Satan comes up from the bottom of the abyss, and when he comes up and out, and like I told you, if you listen to my dream earlier, or my vision earlier, when I saw the red Chinese dragon in the sky, he was the size of an airplane, you guys. So I'm guessing that the Chinese, the principality, like there was a prince of Persia that was over Persia, that was a really strong demon, that, Daniel needed help, and the angel needed help from Michael the archangel. Well, there is a principality over China that's keeping people deceived, that's keeping people away from God, that's motivating people to persecute Christians, persecute his word, remove anyone who wants to be a missionary there, wants to spread the gospel. And so you have to understand, that's why you have so many sinkholes, and that's why, you have to spend millions of billions of yuan, continually fixing these sinkholes, because when you worship the red dragon, he comes forth, because he likes to be worshipped, unfortunately. He wants to mock God in that. He likes to be worshipped. So he comes up forth from the earth, and then you get a sinkhole, okay? Because this is the thing, is the spirit realm can affect the physical realm. And I'm going to go into a bit of preaching here and a bit of expounding and teaching. The spirit realm can affect the physical realm. Do you understand that? I gave that example of when Elijah prayed. Elijah prayed that rain would not fall upon the land, and rain did not fall upon the land. So his spiritual prayer, affected the physical world, and it didn't rain. Then he prayed 7 times, and God brought rain. Okay, so our prayers can affect the physical world. Okay, and also I was telling earlier, if you would read the Bible that you guys are persecuting, demons can also cause sickness. You know, for example, we're given there's a story about it's called the Mount of Transfiguration, and it's in the Gospels. And anyway, so Jesus is takes 2 of his disciples, Peter and John, and decide to go up a mountain. When they go up this mountain, when they go up the mountain, the disciples fall asleep, and Moses appears, and Elijah, I believe Elijah, and then Jesus begins to talk to them. So at this point, the apostles are knocked out, sleepy, but they're kind of seeing all this, because Peter says, "Oh Lord, it's good that we are here. We should build tabernacles for Moses, and we should build a tabernacle," because it was the Feast of Tabernacles when this happened. So he was like, "Oh, let's build a tabernacle for the spirit of Moses, and let's build a tabernacle for Elijah." And he says, "You don't know what you're asking. You don't know what you're saying." And then the last thing God says is "Listen to my son." So then Jesus comes off this mountain, comes off this experience with the Lord, but then all of a sudden a man brings his boy to Jesus, and he says, "Jesus, your disciples have not been able to help me. They've not been able to cast out the demon in my son." And so he was explaining, and he says, "Will you please have mercy, because my son has a form of epilepsy." Well, he says seizures, but seizures is like epilepsy. So he has seizures. And then when this happens, he has seizures. And when he has seizures, he's trying to throw himself in the water. He's trying to throw himself in the flames, but your disciples are not able to deliver him. And so God delivers the demonic, right? He tells the demonic to leave. And it says that the boy gave a shriek, and everyone thought he was dead, but God lifted him up to life. And from that point on, he no longer had seizures or had epilepsy. Seizures is epilepsy. That's what it is. So that boy was suffering a form of epilepsy, but that form of epilepsy was linked to a demonic, was linked to a negative energy, or whatever. You guys call it chi energy or whatever. I'm trying to be a Greek to a Greek, and a Jew to a Jew, and a Chinese to a Chinese, okay? So chi, okay? Demons have very bad chi energy. God has very good chi energy, okay? God is light, God is love, God is healing, God is pure. The devil is dark, the devil is destructive, and the devil can cause disease, okay? So we also see how the spirit realm, a demon, was able to cause seizures in this little boy. And so when the demonic left the boy, he no longer had seizures and no longer had epilepsy. And so the disciples came to Jesus and said, "Oh Lord," and now I'm going to go into a little bit of spiritual teaching 101. But they said, "Lord," they went to the Lord and said, "Why couldn't we cast it out?" And he said, "Well, you had very little faith." So they had very low faith. But then Jesus also said in that story, these kind only come out through fasting and prayer. So, about that spiritual teaching 101, there are certain demons that we do have authority over. They're little, nothings. Their rank in the hierarchical rank of demonics and angels is very low. It's easy to defeat them, easy to overcome them. But there's other demonics that are stronger, that do require fasting and do require prayer. And so that, when you're tackling a certain demonic that's stronger in the demonic realm, that's higher up there in the hierarchy, you will need to be fasted up. And you will need to, oh, sorry, I'm sitting on my legs and they're starting to fall asleep. So you have to understand that, Satan is real, and he's a dragon, okay? And he's a red dragon. And you guys are worshiping him in the open as a dragon, and you worship their demons. I forget what you call them in Japanese and Chinese. In culture, they're aware that demons are real. So more about spiritual 101 is certain demonics, you cannot conquer unless you're fasted up. And so also, you know, I just want to speak to a lot of my, I'm sweating a bit, but to a lot of, you guys, my feet are sleeping. Hold on, you guys. This is one of the worst feelings in the world. I'll get back to spiritual warfare 101. Oh, but my feet are sleeping, and you know how you get that like little tingly, oh shoot, that little tingly sensation that makes you want to laugh and cry and scream all at the same time. That's one of my pet peeves, is sleeping legs, man. Sleeping legs, because when I'm praying, I have to go through the sleepy leg syndrome. When I'm on my knees praying, bent over before the Lord, just praying to Him, you know, I get sleepy legs a lot, and that's one of my least favorite parts of praying, is when you get all those tingly prickles, and you feel like your feet are being tickled and all that kind of stuff. Oh Lord, and you're like, I don't want to hit it too hard, because then it like hurts cries. I've actually laughed and cried over this kind of stuff. Oh, the blood's returning to my feet, you guys. Sorry, that's like a natural thing. I'm trying to talk about spiritual things, but I'm still having a natural experience. So anyways, back to spiritual warfare 101. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys about an experience I've had and how I've learned some of this stuff. Some of it's come from just personal experience and going through some really trying times, and then asking the Lord what the heck happened, because I got kind of beat up. And then He kind of explained and expounded. Why I was defeated. So anyways, I don't know if I told you guys this as well, but my mama was a prophetess, and I'm a prophetess, and sorry, I'm just sweating a little bit. And so anyways, back in the day, we had a ministry, and we did for a short season in our ministry, we did exorcisms, right? Because we see into the spirit realm, and God has shown us how to have authority. So anyways, for a while we were advertising ourselves as exorcist and deliverance ministers. And so anyways, we actually had, that's not the story I want to, well, I'm just going to tell this story, and then I'll tell another story of the spirit realm and how I kind of know these things about demons and what I've learned. So anyways, so on the back of our car, we had our number. And hey, if you have, we do deliverances. If you're having, demonic activity, we're exorcists and stuff like that. So anyways, this couple calls us and says, hey, we're having a lot of poltergeistic activity in our house. They say when they try to sleep that crows are flying to their faces and pecking them and waking them up, and their cat will get possessed and begin to claw them and tear them apart. And they start, they're starting to hear doors open and close, and they're starting to see shadows walk around in their house. So they were having like a lot of demonic poltergeistic activity. Well, so they call us, and I'm praying the whole way in tongues, because this is my first experience. I honestly, I'm glad my mama was there, because she's dealt with that a lot longer than I has dealt, and she has amazing testimony. Maybe one day I'll tell it, But anyways, so she's dealt with demons and witches and warlocks and all that for years. And so, but I haven't. So, to her degree. So this was kind of new to me. So I was like really, to be honest, a little scared out of my mind, because I've never dealt with demons on that level, as far as like casting them out of something or telling them to get out of a house, or like really practicing that kind of authority. And so this was like my first run, and this was maybe like 8-9 years ago. So I was like still a baby Christian. I was like maybe 3 or 4 years old in the faith. So my mom brings me along to this exorcism, and so anyways, I'm praying in tongues the whole way, just asking God for guidance, asking God to show me what to do, asking God to guide us in this situation. And so anyways, we go to the house, and then all of a sudden I see a little demon run out, and he looks like Golem. That's all I can say. He looks exactly like Golem. He runs out, and he says, and he cussed. He said, "O-S-H-I-T, oh, they're here." And then he ran back in the house. And I was like, okay. But anyways, I just keep praying in tongues. I'm keep talking to the Lord, and I'm letting my mama take the lead because she was my head, my spiritual head. Because my dad wasn't saved, so she was kind of my spiritual head, and and she's taught me a lot over the years as well about being a prophet and the prophetic. So I kind of let her take the lead because, that woman knew what she was doing. But she also guided me into what to do. So anyways, we start walking towards this place, right? And the second we get in there, we begin to talk to the people. Well, it ends up that it's a woman and a man, and they were young, like in their 20s, 22, 23. But the young man, he had really long hair, and it was super curly, bright blue eyes, and he was the son of a pastor. He was a PK's kid. And this woman had seduced him. They were sleeping together. They were in sexual sin. They weren't married, and that PK's kid knew better. And now all of a sudden they're having all this satanic activity, and now they're so desperate. They can't live in peace, they can't sleep, things are moving, things are shifting. The cat's being possessed, and animals can be possessed by demons. I mean, you go into how Jesus sent the horde into the pigs, right? They said, Jesus, please send us into the horde of pigs. So animals can be possessed. That's a whole teaching 101. You got to be careful for that. And so their cats were being possessed by demons, and the demons were like clawing them to death through the cat. It's just real weird stuff like that. So anyways, they begin to explain their story to us. Okay, hey, we're sleeping together. And then my mom begins to rebuke them. Well, you guys shouldn't be doing that. Well, my mom delivers this word afterwards. So we walk in and we begin to play the word in the background. So we begin to play the word in the background to just get the Spirit of God dwelling in there, to get the word of God going through there, so that demons have to begin to collapse and begin to run. So anyways, I'm praying in the Spirit. And as I'm praying, God is showing me and leading me to places in the house where these demons are hiding, because now they know we're here. They know two prophetesses of God are here. We know our spiritual authority, and they know they're about to leave and lose their ground that they have with this couple and with this PK's kid. So anyway, I start not prophesying. I start praying in tongues, and then God shows me, like, in the cabinet, in their kitchen cabinet in the corner, that's where he's hiding. But I knew this all in the Spirit. God was showing me in the Spirit where they were hiding as I'm praying in tongues. So as I'm praying in tongues, it was very calm. But then when he showed me where the demon was, and I opened up the cupboard, all of a sudden the Spirit of the Lord would get very aggressive and begin to command that demon, in tongues. I don't really know what I was saying, but in tongues, it got real aggressive in the Spirit, like, and I would just keep going as the Spirit of the Lord led. And then when the demon left, I would calm down, and I would just begin to pray again, begin to speak in tongues again, just going through the house, looking at items, just seeing, okay, there's demon number 1, he's gone, and just walking. I go to the bathroom, and there's a demon hiding in the bathtub. And I don't know if maybe they've committed sexual sin in that bathtub, had sex in that bathtub, but sometimes, demons can attach to certain areas where there's a lot of sin, to sin. And that's why, in the Bible days, in the Old Testament and also in the New Testament, but when God would have the Israelites, take over a pagan nation, many times God said, destroy everything, destroy their idols, destroy everything, because it was so saturated in sin and the demonic and Satan and maybe sacrificial blood of babies and animals and stuff like that, real satanic stuff, that he didn't want, how certain things just, you could just feel it. The way you could feel God on a certain person, or, oh man, I feel a song is so holy, you can kind of feel, well, I can at least, I don't know if everyone else, but I could kind of feel just there's something demonic really happening here. But for whatever reason, the demon was in the tub. So again, I'm praying slowly, and then the second I open the curtain, it's like the Spirit of God takes over me, and I start speaking in tongues to this demon. you know, and maybe go on like that for 1 or 2 minutes, and then I would feel released from that. The demon would leave, and then at this point, God actually had me start to worship him in the spirit. So and the people are watching this, and they started laughing. I didn't care, and plus I couldn't control myself. I'm under the power of the Spirit of the Lord. Because is it me casting out demons? You think demons are running at the name of Valencia? Yeah, right. They're only running because Jesus lives in me. They're only running because I'm speaking God's language that he's having me speak. That's the only reason they're scared and running. It's not me, right? But so anyways, I start, you know, under the unction of God. After the second demon leaves, I just start worshiping him in the bathroom and spinning and dancing and worshiping God for his power, worshiping God for his deliverance, worshiping God that he's using me to do this, just worshiping God. And the PK's kid, you know, started laughing. But, you know, I was like, oh, it's all good in the neighborhood. I'm just going to keep doing what God says. And I couldn't control myself, you know. I'm under the unction of God, you know. So anyways, I keep praying. Then all of a sudden, I'm led to their bedroom. And that's where the sexual sin's happening. You know, they sleep in the same bed and stuff like that. So I go into their bedroom. So 2 demons are gone, but there's 3 demons left that need to be exorcised out of that house. So I go to the bedroom, and all of a sudden, God leads me to open up the top dresser drawer of their dresser, and it was full of like it's a little, you know, if any little kids are listening, just disclaimer, get them out of that, you know, just women's sexy underwear. Let me just say that, thongs and, you know, all kind of like sexual undergarments. What do you call it? Lingerie. And that's where two of the demons were hiding, was in the lingerie of this sin, right? It's attached to this sinful object, you know. And sometimes, like I said, and this is going to take a lot of explaining. You guys might think it's crazy, but I know it to be true. I would have to expound for a lot longer, for a few hours, to explain it all. But just like the power of God, as I was explaining, on the power of God can dwell on an object, like Paul's apron and stuff like that. You know, Satan does the counterfeit. And so sometimes, because we used to work with witches, and we have a long testimony, we came out of the occult, me and my family, my mom's family. So we came out of the occult, and she was raised with witches and things like that. So she came out of it. She ended up, you know, Jesus delivered her from that. But by default, we know a lot about witches, a lot about witchcraft, a lot about demonics, a lot about how they conjure power, a lot about how they attach things to items too, you know, just like the people of God can attach the anointing of Christ to certain things, you know, through prayer. Witches do the same thing, because the gifts of God are irrevocable. And so you have, you know, for example, you have prophets, right, in the kingdom of God that can see the future and can speak and know something about a person, right, that I shouldn't know. But what's the counterfeit in the kingdom of hell? Psychics. So all psychics are really prophets, but they're using their gift for evil and for money and to be somebody and business, and so they're perverting the gift of God, which is the prophetic, to see into the future, to know things about people that only that other person would know. And so that's where you get your psychics. So, you know, and just like God has healers, you know, witches. I was in the occult for a short while when I was younger. When I was about 19, I'll tell you my testimony another day. Oh wait, dismiss. Anyway, so I was I was seeking out, you know, I was kind of into the New Age movement and Wicca, and like I started doing tarot cards and things like that, things that I thought were like light witchcraft or white witchcraft, like innocent, stupid stuff, star charts, horoscopes, tarot cards, but it's still the occult, you know. I would worship the 4 points of the earth, the north, the south, the west, you know, and I was just running with the New Agers, the little hippies, and so I got into witchcraft of that sort. I didn't know about like real witchcraft. To me, it just seemed silly and something to do. But what happened is, you know, just a little testimony is, and I'll get back to the story of the. Let me just finish the story of the deliverance, and then I'll get back to my story. So anyways, anyways, God's telling me I need to go where he's going, and he has me telling you my testimony right now. Anyways, so back in that day, because I used to watch Charmed, without my mom's permission, because she always told me, don't watch anything with powers apart from God, don't watch witchcraft, don't watch none of this. But in my defiance and rebellion as a teenager, 13, 14 years old, I began to watch a show called Charmed. And if you guys know it, it's in the 90s. It was about this show about three witches and how they use their powers, sometimes for good, sometimes for evil. And that fascinated me at the time. I thought it was really cool. And I think that was the first time I really had any kind of like interest in the occult. It actually started from a show, and that's why you have to be careful what you're showing your kids. And really monitoring what they watch, because I got fascinated with the occult with that show. And so here, I go to college, and now I'm left on my own, able to make my own decisions. And the first thing I do is I go buy a pack of tarot cards. I go start reading star charts. I start, going to drum circles. I start doing drugs and the spirit of pharmakia. I start learning about astral travel and all this stuff, all this stuff witches do. And so anyways, I end up getting into the occult a bit. And anyways, I had my own poltergeistic experience where things were shaken and witches were cursing me, and it was lighting on me. And I started to see demons and hordes of demons, and I could see witches, warlocks, and I had, I actually was sleeping in a trailer, and a horde of demons was just circling the trailer, shaking it, not letting me sleep. I ended up not sleeping for like 11 days because it was so traumatic to my soul, and the demons kept pursuing me, and I had no idea really what was happening. And when I did realize what was happening, I didn't know how to get help, and I did start crying out to Jesus because of that experience of opening a door to the demonic realm, through these occult practices, and through, because eventually I started looking for a coven to join so I could be trained as a white witch. I didn't want to be an evil witch. I wanted to be a white witch and try to use my power for good, but white witchcraft, black witchcraft, it's all witchcraft. It's still all occultic. It's all satanic. So I've had my own little run-in with demons and the occult and witches and what they can do and magic. And my mom's been through some stuff. We've been through some stuff together because we used to minister to witches, and we've had things happen. We've seen miracles. We've seen magic manifest before our eyes. And don't think that their power is not real. If you're laughing at me right now because you're like, magic's not real, go read Exodus. I mean, the magician, Pharaoh's magicians did, this is almost word for word in Exodus 7. Go read the whole story. That the magicians, Pharaoh's magicians, were able to actually mimic 3 of the 10 plagues that God brought through Moses. Moses threw down his staff. Pharaoh's magician, through their occultic practices and demonic power, were able to throw down their staffs, and it actually turned to a snake. And so either God's speaking the truth or he's a liar, and he's not a liar. So magic is real, period. And magic has power. Okay, they were able to do 2 more, mimic 2 more times. They did magic 2 more times to mimic God. And so there's still witches today. There's still people who serve Satan today. There's still people who go to cult meetings today on high holy holidays for, I don't even want to say holy, but they're satanic high holy holidays.